All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Coach's Kitchen, where we have real conversations about growth in business and mindset and in the parts of our lives that don't always make it to LinkedIn. This is where breakthrough is always on the burner. I'm your host, Leslie Nicole, life coach, motivational speaker, and your favorite soul chef. This is where ambitious women like you come to unpack what's simmering beneath the surface, from purpose to power moves, healing to high stakes leadership, because y'all, this is not fast food healing. It's the slow, sacred work that sticks. Now, are y'all ready to get cooking? Now, but before we even get started, I want to ask you something. What happens when your faith, your career, and your calling refuse to stay in separate boxes? Well, that's exactly what we're talking about tonight. I'm joined by the one and only ZeNai Savage. Where you at, girl?
I'm here. Hold
You're
on.
here, you're here, you're here. Who knew that last year when I met you at the Indie Chamber Women in Business Retreat that you'd be right here next to me today?
I know. I know. Look at how the Lord made that all come together.
That is crazy. Well, I am so honored to have you here. Before we get started, I'd love to just tell the people a little bit about you. You're a CPA, a minister, civic leader, entrepreneur, and we are just really looking forward to this honest conversation about what it looks like to live and lead without apology about your faith. ZeNai serves as the Chief Finance and Administrative Officer for the Indie Chamber. And she's also the voice behind the Blurred Lines Movement, a platform that challenges us to stop separating our faith, career, and community and instead live fully aligned in every space we walk into. ZeNai, welcome to the Coach's Kitchen. I'm ready to talk about these ingredients that you got going for your success.
I know. And I will say, maybe thinking for the future, you'll do this live and there will actually be food and you will be doing this over a meal.
I kind of like that. So maybe you're going to be like my first guest, or maybe we should have like a Coach's Kitchen table talk type of situation.
Exactly. Exactly.
Ooh, let's talk about that afterwards. Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, let's start here. Who is ZeNai beyond all the titles? You wear many hats, but who is ZeNai?
Yeah, I think Zanae's actually pretty chill. I work out a lot. Obviously, church is a big part, faith is a big part of my existence. And I just like to have fun, go to comedy shows. I watch a lot of TV, binge watch TV, which I don't think people assume, but I'm a Law and Order uh crime show girl. Um, so yeah, aside from all the titles, like I'm simple, basic. I'm try to be a minimalist and less is more, less decisions that you have to make. Yeah.
Well, I'll say add beautiful, and you're a former athlete, right?
Yes.
So
I like to
what
stay current because I still, wake up in the morning like a crazy person and work out. And yeah, so
how early is early?
my alarm goes off now at 5:45.
Okay, okay,
But it's not too bad.
that's not too bad. That's not
It's
too
not too
bad.
bad. It's
That's
because
not
I have a home gym now. I used
okay.
to drive to the gym. So my alarm used to go off at 4:45 and I was at the gym for the 5:30 a.m. CrossFit class.
All right.
Yeah.
I've been there, done that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought I do miss the group workout, being in
Mm,
community and all of that, but the convenience of also having a home gym is nice.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, okay, what has your journey been like so far getting to this point? So, when did you realize, you know what, I've been called to be a minister or becoming a CPA? What does your journey look like over the years?
Yeah, it's been very fluid. So, going back to we'll just start at high school, I
Mhm.
guess. When my church journey started, I grew up in church, but I always had to balance being at church and being involved in
Okay.
sports and things. My parents were very intentional about keeping us active. If we wanted to do something, we,
Mm-hmm.
could do the clubs, all of that. Um, so in high school, I was a three-sport athlete at Warren Central on the far east side here. And I played three sports. I said that. But then I ended up playing like two sports at a time, which also made it hard to like do other things because I'd be playing basketball for the school and then club volleyball. And then so like late nights. And then when it was track season for the school, I'd be playing AAU basketball. And
Mm-hmm.
then on the weekends, my parents, bless their hearts, were like driving me to Louisville, Kentucky, and Cincinnati for all types of volleyball and basketball tournaments. So that this pace of life that I keep now, like, is a pace that I have like had since growing up, balancing school and extracurricular activities. I was part of
Mm-hmm.
student council and junior achievement, like all of the
Mm-hmm.
stuff. I didn't just go to
All the
school, I
things.
did all of the things. So
All the things.
and then at church, we go to church and I'm on the junior usher board. And then they're like, you should be on the senior usher board. So as a high school, I was like the president of like the usher board at the church, which was crazy to be over these
Mm-hmm.
adults, right? So that was essentially my journey. I ended up getting a scholarship to University of Louisville, a track scholarship. I went for engineering, changed my major to accounting,
Oh,
and then got involved with NABA, National Association of Black Accountants, as
yep.
an undergrad. Also, while being, a college athlete and
Mm-hmm.
involved in student athletes of color and Black Student Union and all of the things in college too. Ended up getting two internships, moved back here to the city and started my career in public accounting. Public accounting is very structured, and then once, in order to be a partner or to move up to a certain level, you have to have your
Mm-hmm.
CPA license. And
Okay.
so we talked a little bit about CPA when I was in college.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then so right out of college, I started studying for this exam. And I was a good student in high school and college, and I failed the first part of the exam, which was devastating to me because I had never failed anything
Mm-hmm.
really. I did all the things that you're supposed to do. I was going home after work every day, studying for 3 or 4 hours. I wasn't going out. I was just whatever they said to do. I ordered all the materials. I was doing it, and then I failed. You have to get a 75, and I think I got like a 60 something. I was devastated. But the exam itself is one of the hardest exams, like the bar exam for lawyers and the boards for doctors. It's up there, and it's like a 50% pass rate.
Mm-hmm.
So then in my mind, failing that part, I'm like, oh, they don't want us to actually pass. It's not made for us.
It's set up for me to
It's
fail.
set up for me to fail. And I am not a failure. So I'm just going to not do it. So I put it on the back burner for a little bit. But in order to advance in my career, I essentially needed the license if I was going to stay in public accounting. I left public accounting, went back into it. Um, and then I was going through this exercise of where I was like acting like I was studying, but then I wasn't really taking it serious. And I would sign up for an exam and then realize I wasn't ready. And so I wouldn't do it. And at this time, I'm still very active. I was working a lot of hours and also traveling. And also at the time, I had gotten married young and I just had a lot of stuff happening. And I started to lead a church. So it was just so
Wow.
many competing factors for my attention that
Mm-hmm.
studying was like not top
Not in the
priority.
equation. Yeah.
Yeah. So fast forward, pandemic hits and life shuts everybody down. I can't travel anymore. We're actually not even going outside. We're just
Yep.
limited on what we could do. And I said, all right, God, like this is it. I don't have any more distractions. I don't have any more excuses. I had also gotten turned down or passed over for a job opportunity that I
Ooh.
was overqualified for, but they wouldn't even consider me because I didn't have the license. And I said, I will never be in that position again, regardless of what I want to do with my career. I'd rather have this license and not need it than need it and then not have it, even
Right.
though I'm literally doing the same job. It didn't make any sense to me, but that's something we can
Mm-hmm.
talk about later. My little soapbox of the industry. So yeah, I buckled down during the pandemic, and what took me 10 years of going back and forth, acting like I was doing this thing, I finished it in 10 months.
Oh, wow.
Passed all four parts of the exam during the pandemic. And then I ended up writing a book about it. So that's the author. I wrote a book. It's called Finish on Amazon. And it's about accomplishing your goals, finishing what you start, what boundaries you need to put in place, overcoming the fear of failure, learning from the opportunities. I had to teach myself how to relearn
Mm-hmm.
because I couldn't study like I was still in college because I wasn't, right? I'm an adult
Mm-hmm.
learner. I was learned differently. So I wrote a little bit about that in the book. Um, at the same time, like I said, at the time I was married. I was married to a pastor,
Mm-hmm.
but I had grown up, in the church. And so that was also like a natural just space to be in because I had already been a trustee at the church. I had always been serving. I had always been in, some type of leadership. So
Mm-hmm.
my role continued there, but then evolved from I'm not just here to like listen to the word. I actually have this gift of teaching and encouraging other people and leadership and XYZ. And so
Right.
that evolved into me teaching Bible study, teaching Sunday school, really digging into the word. And then a couple years ago, I accepted my call to actually be a minister or a preacher. Um, and then I launched my blog, was initially at the time Lady Z Speaks. Fast forward again, I ended up getting a divorce. So then I
Mm-hmm.
go through this journey of identity. Who am I? How do I show up in the world again as just ZeNai? Um, on top of that, what does my ministry look like? Because my
Mm-hmm.
ministry isn't tied to a specific person. It's mine that God gave me. So how do I move in that?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so then fast forward end of last year, I decided to relaunch my blog and then rebranded with the Blurred Lines movement, which I had already talked about. It was already part of my LinkedIn profile, like from years ago. That's how
Uh-huh.
I don't know where that came from. From some reason, because I was always in all of these spaces,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought it's tiring. Like I am, first lady or minister on Sunday, and then Tuesday I'm businesswoman, and then I'm in the community, and it's separate. And I'm not continuing to code switch and do all this stuff.
That's it.
So that's how I rebranded my ministry off and named it Blurred Lines, and that's where we are today. So that was a,
Mm.
a long
No,
journey.
it's all good. It
That
gives
was
us the
about 20
framework.
20 years
Yes.
in about 5 minutes.
No, you're good. It's one thing that you said you were talking about, your identity and who you are and how you went through life, right? I mean, we
Mhm.
all have our own situations, we all have our own life stories. And at that times, I like to kind of frame this ideology of like it's called identity theft. Like we
Mhm.
go through these circumstances which try to steal our identity,
Yeah,
but we have to remember that where we are does not define who we are.
that's right.
And so I would just love to hear like your thoughts around burnout or identity theft, because it sometimes comes out of being not in alignment with who you truly are.
Right.
And so, how did you say, okay, I need to redefine
Hmm.
my life and make sure that I am in alignment with who
Hmm.
I truly am and who God called me to be?
Yes. Um, I had a couple different moments, and part of it
Hmm.
was my career, majoring in accounting, being an accounting professional, ultimately a
Hmm.
CPA. Everybody wants to have the CPA on their board, part of their organization, volunteering your time to help everybody get their books together. And so initially early on, trying to make a name for myself, trying to help people because that is a thing that I have a servant heart. So I'm like, yeah, I can help you, even though I got a million things to do. So, um, so yeah, that was
Boundaries.
boundaries, right? But I got to the point and I get like frustrated when
Hmm.
I'm overextended, but it takes me
Hmm.
sometimes to realize like, why are you so frustrated? Or why are you so irritable? Or why are you dreading this?
Yeah.
And so early on, I learned that was because I wasn't in alignment. I was serving on boards and serving organizations and working with people that it wasn't aligned. I was
Hmm.
on the board for higher education, young professionals thing. And I was like, I don't know that this fits really what I want to do. I got asked to join the board for a symphony or the zoo. Great organizations, great missions. Does it align with like where my purpose and my calling is? Not necessarily. So I had to learn early on to say no. I read this
Mm-hmm.
book called The Best Yes, and it talked about that boundaries. Like, what is the best yes? You cannot say yes to everything. And sometimes the best yes is no.
No, because
Because
you're saying yes to yourself at
you're
the
saying
end.
yes to yourself,
That's
right?
right.
And so that
That's
really
right.
helped me understand and accept that you cannot save everybody. You cannot help everybody,
Mhm.
especially at the expense of your own goals. Because that's another part of what took me so long to pass the CPA exam. I didn't have time because I'm trying to help other people and not focusing on my own thing, right?
Mhm.
And so I had to learn that to be in alignment. And then what I began to do was center my service on what do I care about, and that's mission work, right? So I kind of see it in three different pillars. There's my career, my profession. So I'm on CPA Society board, still NABA that I've been doing. It's just all about really diversifying the profession, getting more people that look like
Yeah.
me into this predominantly white male driven profession. The other part of that is purpose and mission, community, right? And so I'm still on a couple grassroots organizations, but it's more so to make sure that they have their self situated and enough so they can receive the funding so to be able to fulfill their mission to the community. Because I
Mhm.
think during this pandemic, especially, it was highlighted that grassroots organizations, Black led organizations received less funding from the government and other organizations because whatever reason, a
Mhm.
lot of time they're seen as mom and pop. They don't have the right structure. They don't have the quality board members. So how do we help position these entrepreneurs for success? And
Right.
so now I'm very clear on the spaces that I serve, and it's really centers around equity, equality, creating space and opportunity for people.
I'm here for all that. I'm here for all that. Because I'm trying to tell you, when I saw, because when I met you, I was just like, okay, there's something about her. Besides the fact that, you're beautiful and we both are
Oh,
lock
thanks.
queens and all that. But I was just like, there's something about this woman, though. And so when you relaunched Blurred Lines or relaunched your brand and it said Blurred Lines, I was like, that is it,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I was the same way in that I released boards because I was like, is this really in alignment with what I've been called to do, or
Mm-hmm.
am I just on this board to spend time and spruce up my resume, so to
Right.
speak?
Right.
And not to say that they're horrible organizations. They're not.
They're
They were
not.
doing great things.
Right.
It's just like in this time of my life, it's like it's time. It's time. It's time to be very intentional about what I'm doing and where I'm spending my time.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about blur lines and integrating faith, what does it actually look like in your everyday leadership? Because I mean, you're a baddie, you're a chief. So,
Right. Right. I'm like, be careful what you ask for.
so what does that look like to integrate faith into your leadership, your career, your community?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I'm careful because I don't want people to think I'm not walking around with the Bible every day, beating people over the head. Hey, we need to pray, like all quoting scripture at work. It's definitely not that.
It's not bad.
Um, but I don't shy away from if I'm talking and Jesus comes up, or God, or
Mhm.
faith, or church, right?
Mhm.
I remember early on in my career, and you're going through the professional etiquette, and they're talking about how to be a professional,
Right.
and there's certain topics you don't talk about. You don't talk about church, and you don't talk about politics.
Politics. Yep.
Well, I forgot to mention in my 20 some years span, I ran for office.
Oh,
Yeah. So I
that's
ran for state
something.
auditor.
Okay.
And then I ended up being the executive director for the state Democratic Party
Okay.
for almost a year. So I'm in the political space, I'm in the church space, and I'm at work. And so you're telling me that I can't talk about this, like it doesn't make sense to me, right?
Right.
And so early on, I was always kind of rebellious anyway. I've had tattoos, I've always had my hair red, and I always questioned the system, like why do I have to look like everybody else when I come to work? That's not who I am. Or why do I have to dress up in this suit every day and I don't see anybody? Just like, why are we doing
How are we
these
doing these?
things?
Yep.
Now, years later, it's okay to, dress casual and kind of,
Hmm.
be a little more authentic. Um, I forget the question, but I'm gonna
That was
just keep
okay.
going.
How do you integrate faith?
Oh, the integration, yes.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I remember being asked early in my career, like, what did you do this weekend? And
Hmm.
obviously my weekend was usually full of church stuff. And I
Hmm.
didn't talk about it. I was like, oh, just kind of hung out with family or nothing much, pretty chill. Or if I went to a concert or did something cultural, I would not say like, oh, I went out of town to the Beyonce concert, right? Because
Hmm.
I just felt like we were taught to keep that separation of your personal life, your
Hmm.
blackness, your whatever culture outside of work, and you just come here to work, not to make friends. And to me, that was exhausting and not authentic. I don't know where that came from. I just felt like that wasn't what you were supposed to be doing.
Right.
And then I grew in my career and I learned that there were a lot of folks in the church community, pastors, ministry leaders, and I would run into them. And then I would like through a work thing. And I was like, I had no idea that you were a pastor or you were a ministry leader or you go to church. Like, why have we not talked about this? Right. And so that just kind of seemed strange to me. So that's essentially where the blurred lines came from. Like, I want to talk about these things and show up as my full self, even if it's just on social media and I'm posting about, yep, I was at church. I preached this sermon. I went to
Hmm.
this concert. Whatever. This is all of who I am, because we don't break down silos and prejudices and racism by compartmentalizing and not showing up as our full self.
Hmm.
Right. I
Hmm.
remember um I was part of an audit team, predominantly white team, and we would walk around. I was downtown. I would walk around downtown and see people, my coworkers that I work with, and they would not recognize me because
Mm.
you're not in that same environment, right? You
Hmm.
recognize a person in that environment. If you're in the work environment, I see you. But now I'm outside, here's just another Black girl. And it's
Hmm.
almost like it was a disconnection. And so
Hmm.
you're ZeNai Black girl at work, but you're not the same as the Black people that I see out in the community or on the news or whatever, right? And so I just feel like I want to be a representative of all Black people, all Black women, all Christians or whatever, so that nobody can say, I never knew any actual Black people, or I never knew any Christians, right? And so that's essentially how I operate and go through life. And the more now social media is more prevalent, now people are following you, now people see my blogs and my teaching and my preaching. And now people, even at work will come in and talk about it just kind of more openly. And I don't want to take credit for it, but I'm like, something's happening in these spaces
Hmm.
that I'm in where people are feeling more comfortable talking about church or their
Hmm.
or hey, let's go grab lunch. Like literally last week, a lady that's on a board said, hey, let's grab lunch. I'm thinking I'm in trouble because she's on a board member. I'm like, I probably didn't say something, or we're not doing something right. I had no idea that she used to be a pastor and she wanted to talk about ministry and blog stuff. And I'm like, so it's just being open and
Mm.
transparent, and your gift will make room for you. God
That's
will
right.
open the doors. He'll present opportunities for ministry if it's necessary. There have been a
Hmm.
handful of times that I've actually like been in the office with somebody and said, hey, do you mind if we pray? Going through something that's
Hmm.
not doesn't happen a lot, but I just
Yeah.
believe in showing people Jesus and faith, and you don't even have to, preach or carry the Bible.
Right. Right. That's it. Because God and one of my and I commented on one of the posts earlier today, and I was just like, my prayer daily is that Lord, allow people to see your light in me.
Yeah.
Um, that does not necessarily mean that I have to be walking around like, oh, Jesus saves. You want to pray today? Let's go to church on Sunday. Like all
Right.
this stuff, but
Yeah.
just showing his kindness and his mercy
Yeah.
and all of that. Um, so interestingly enough, this is totally off script. Totally off script. Totally off script, y'all.
Oh boy.
And for those of y'all that are just like listening and they can't see, but your background for me is backwards.
No, why didn't you say something?
No, 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 no. I didn't say something because there is this is right. This is the Lord. Let me just tell you. I'm about to make a sermon out of something. So it's symbolic because this whole movement is about flipping what we've all been taught.
Yeah.
It's about integrating our faith, our career, our calling. And I thought it was just me,
Uh-huh.
right? And then I was like, let me go to social media and look. Because I
Uh-huh.
was, but it's not. But
It's
it's not.
flipped.
But it's flipped.
I'm about to fix it because
No,
I
you can
had,
fix it. We
yeah.
can fix it. But that's the whole point of this. I like how like the Lord literally was like, here is a perfect illustration.
Right.
Because I literally thought I was like, oh, okay, that's just how it looks. And now it's perfect.
And
But the
now, but
thing is,
see, it's backwards to me.
it's backwards to you, but it's
Yes.
it's forward for me.
That's
But
crazy.
it's so weird because things don't always look clear, polished, or perfectly aligned to other people.
Mhm.
But sometimes it's backwards before we get our breakthrough. Girl,
That's a message.
I'm telling you, that's what I was like, I'm just gonna let her finish. And then while you were talking, I was like, let me go look at these
Yeah.
other social
Now we
media.
got to start over.
No, we're not. No, but that's why I like doing live. I'm just gonna be honest. I like doing live because I really feel that God he comes in and I like for people to just see the authenticity of our conversations, number one. But
Mhm.
number two, how God can just bring in something that was not planned.
Yeah.
Like I would have never been like, Zene, I think you should turn your background backwards, because that's how it should be. No. Mm-mm. So yeah. Life is just not
Okay.
about fitting into neat boxes. This is
Yeah,
not.
well, and it's not about perfection.
Yeah, it's
And
not.
I was going to kind of end with that because there a lot of times we have trouble showing our full faith and
Hmm.
talking about Jesus and church in public because there's an expectation that goes along with that.
Yep.
And now I have to be perfect. But the thing,
Mm-hmm.
like, we're not going to always get it right. Like, sometimes you're going to still have an attitude at work, or you're going to say something you shouldn't have said, or any of the things. But there's forgiveness, there's grace, there's
Yes,
mercy, so there are ways to overcome that.
that's right.
And we are striving to be perfect, but
Yeah.
none of us are perfect, and we don't
Yeah.
always get it right. But that's the beauty of Jesus and faith, is that forgiveness. And how do we extend that to others?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I also take that approach with my social media and my ministry. And I am not trying to be perfect. I don't need to have every hair in place. I'm probably not dressing up all the time. I'm not
But you be
filtering.
looking good though, girl. You be
Well,
looking
thanks. I'm not filtering my pictures. I'm not. This is because whoever I look like on social media, I will look like in real life too. And so, but I wasn't a tomboy, but like I was an athlete, right? And so I never
good.
been the girly girl.
Mhm.
My mom would love for me to see me in more colors and more dresses and more makeup and all, but that's just not me. um but I don't feel the need to present perfection because that's not realistic. And I think the more that we try to be perfect, that also deters other people from participating in whatever the thing is, right? I was very conscious of that as a church leader, as a minister. I'm not going to be wearing all these expensive things, have this full face of makeup, and just be so perfect. And then there's a young girl who feels like, oh, I can't participate in ministry. I can't do this because I don't look like her, because I don't have it all together. I don't have it all together.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I think there's something about relatability too that um allow space for other people to see themselves and participate.
Wow. We ain't perfect. And as a whole, I mean, outside of blurred lines, that's what the Coach's Kitchen really is about, right? It's about listening to all of these women's stories, learning about how they've been successful in career and in life,
Mm,
what their ingredients are to all of that, but knowing that it's not an overnight success,
right,
knowing that there is no perfect road because there's going to be detours, there's going to be stops, there's going to be a whole lot of bumps in the road.
right,
But how did we get there? And
right.
so, even though it was backwards, I appreciate the illustration and the metaphor because I do. I was just like, oh my gosh. I was like, Lord, like no one can make that up.
No. And the
No one.
perfection, it's really testing me because the perfectionist in me is like, we got to do this over. Because now half of the interview is it was backwards. So how are we gonna fix it?
If you want to do it over, we could do it
We're not
over.
gonna do it over. It's
We could
fine.
do it over.
Because
But
I'm
I
okay. Like I'm okay with it now.
the illustration is when I the thing is the uh the imperfection is perfect for this particular
It is.
episode. It
It
really
is.
is.
Yeah.
It
Because we
is.
haven't even got into I'm about to say something real
Go.
controversial.
Go.
Um, maybe we're thinking about this whole church and faith thing backwards,
Mm,
right? A lot of the focus is how do I get more people into this church building?
hmm.
That is not what Jesus said. Jesus said, go out
That's
and
right.
teach all nations. And so also that has also been like how I've been like wrestling over the past couple of years of with discipleship. And maybe we had this whole thing, our focus is a little backwards in how we are showing our faith and talking to
Hmm.
people. I need to talk to people to tell you about Jesus, not to just say you need to come to church.
Hmm. Hmm.
You should go to church. You should have community in whatever form that looks like. Does it have to be in a building? I don't know. We can argue and debate that. But the scripture was pretty clear on like the mission and purpose of introducing people to Christ.
Right.
And so how do our discipleship has been flipped too a little bit.
Hmm. 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 I
I
feel
don't
like
know.
we could have like a whole like we can get some women together. We can have a whole conversation. We can go to dinner
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, exactly. Come
and
to the
like
kitchen.
for real. Yes, in the kitchen. Be like, yeah, Cooper's hot. Can we borrow your kitchen for a
Mm-hmm.
second?
Exactly. Exactly.
So, have there ever been moments though where your calling and your career there's been tension? And then how did you navigate that if there has been?
You know, that's a good question. I don't think so.
Hmm.
Because I think now, maybe 20 years ago,
Hmm.
if we were so vocal and had social media and all of things, I think now people are more accepting of people having their beliefs and voices and all of that. Where I feel like there's been tension is around having work or activity that's not centered on my career.
Yeah.
And so I try to be very careful. I think now I'm at a certain level where I'm less concerned about it because I feel like I
Mhm.
have a name and good position. But you still have to care about it because I never want anybody to feel like at my job that I get paid for is suffering at the expense of me being involved in different organizations or me being so vocal or having my own brand or having my own business. So there
Mhm.
is that tension of making sure that my day job, the what I get paid a good salary for is the
Mhm.
main thing and the rest of the stuff is, supplementary or is not kind of getting in the way. So I do try to make sure that there's that balance because early in my career, it did come up where somebody said, well, you I know that you're busy and I know you're always doing stuff for this board or whatever, but we really need, like, it kind of came up in my performance review. And I
Mhm.
said, well, like, those are two separate things. So I don't need you to try to make excuses for me or determine how I spend my time or assume that what I have going on outside of work affects work. So don't do that. Um,
Mhm.
but that was also part of, like, how do I show up and fully integrate my life so people know who I am, but also
Mhm.
being very clear on where my focus and
Yeah.
boundaries and priorities are.
Yeah. Yeah. So what would you tell women who are serving on those boards? They're working, they're going to church, they feel like they're being pulled in multiple directions, and they feel or they know that there's a calling on their life, meaning that they need to stop doing things, but they are scared to not appear to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Like to show that their life is actually kind of backwards.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, this whole illustration is
Yeah.
deep to me. Like
Yeah.
to really show that their life is kind of backwards, it's out of order, and
Mm-hmm.
they need to put it more into alignment, but they're scared because they don't want to appear imperfect.
Yeah.
What do you tell
Uh,
them?
a couple things. I mean, if we're talking about women of faith, then and my therapist helped me with this a couple years ago. Um, Sometimes we have like a God complex.
Mm, go there.
I need to be a part of this so I can fix it. If I'm not here, it's going to fall apart. If I'm not doing all of these things, nobody else can do them. So I'm going to just continue to like fix, be everywhere at the expense of myself. And if I don't do it, who's going to do it?
Mhm.
Right. And and then we think that we're so perfect, we're so great that nobody else can possibly do the thing that we're doing, right? Like that's not true. There are a ton of talented people in this space, in the
Mhm.
world, who can do the things. We don't have to be the end all be all for everything. So it's
Mhm.
kind of getting comfortable with that, letting go of that um expectation that we're putting on ourselves, that we have to be perfect, we have to be all things to all people. um I dealt with a lot wanting to help and to fix and all of that. And I had to get to the point where it's like, it's okay if I don't have it all together. Don't respond to emails as fast as I used to. I am late to things now. But it's also like, it's okay. Like sometimes the stress, kind of bottles up on it, but I do have to remind myself, like, you are not perfect, you are not God. Like, you actually need to like turn it over to God and let him show you where you need to be, how you need to operate, what you need to be involved in. And so
Mhm.
there's that kind of trust factor and leaning to him and letting him direct the path versus you trying to create your own path and say, all right, God, can you make this make sense? And he's like, no, I ain't tell you to do that in the first place. That's why you stressed out. And that's why you overwhelmed. And that's why you driving yourself crazy, because you shouldn't be over here. Just wait.
Oh,
So I think so that was a lot of it for me, just kind of understanding, like, you don't have to make things happen. And just trusting God that if you need to be in a room, if you need a door to be open, if you need to be in a space and have your voice, like, he will make that happen. Your gifts make room for you. You don't have to force anything, just kind of trusting God throughout the process.
yeah. And I always reflect on like who told us that we had to do all this? Like who
Who
told us that we
said
had
that?
to do this to be successful? Who told us that we had to do this in order to look like we're being faithful or that we're Christians or that we're being fulfilled? Like who told us all this stuff? And
Who
then
said that?
and why do we believe that instead of
Right,
I feel like we're looking to be validated as a
right,
people
right,
by the people
right,
versus by the king,
right.
by Jesus.
Right. We are working ourselves into stress and burnout and being overwhelmed and not resting and all of the things. And who said that we need to do that? And why are we
Mhm.
doing it? And why do we still believe it? And why are we not questioning it? And then how do we get out of it? And so
Yeah.
that's what I've been working the last couple of years. I'm like, all right, I didn't put all this on my plate and it's great. Did my time. Now, how do I
Mhm.
unwind it? How do I get out of it? How do I have more balance and say less is more? Where, and,
Mhm.
that's where delegation and mentoring with other people and true discipleship and helping others understand how to be in this space versus you feeling like you have to do everything. Sometimes that's more important than
Mhm.
doing the work itself, right? I can do it, or I can train somebody else to do it or give someone else an
Mhm.
opportunity. And then they train, and then I can maybe train 4 or 5 different people or mentor 4 or 5 different people versus me trying to hold on to this one thing. So that's greater impact.
Yeah. Yeah. So how can people get involved with the Blurred Lines movement and get in contact with you?
There's a couple ways. So my website is liveblurred.com. It has the blog on there,
Mhm.
and a link to my YouTube page. So I have a blog, which is I write once a month, and then there's a newsletter that goes out. And then I also have a podcast once a month that's on
Yeah.
YouTube. So it's Live Blurred or ZeNai Savage, just my name.
That's awesome. Well, Zane, this has been amazing. And I
And
cannot
you're right. This time
wait.
went so fast.
I told you, you want to do 30 minutes for real? I mean, because that 30 minutes, it's like a blink.
Right, right. Yeah. I'm
And I
like,
love
there's
the
so
way
much more, but no, this is
there's a,
great.
there's a whole lot more. We could actually do like a part two. So this is what we can do. So we can do it in person,
Mm-hmm.
over a meal,
Mm-hmm.
with the right background.
Yes, right, right. Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
gosh. But you know
Oh my
what?
gosh.
We will always be known. Like this is us.
Right.
And I love the fact that there are unique things that happen during these podcasts. And this is literally why I like them to be live, because
Yeah.
I want women and people to know that our lives are not perfect. Stop trying to be perfect.
Right.
We are human. The
Right.
only perfect being is Jesus. And
Right.
so we can try to do it over and over and over again, but guess what? It's still going to be
It's still
imperfect.
going, something's
It's
gonna
still
be
going to be imperfect.
right.
You may not see it, but you may hear it. You may
Right.
stumble. You may be like even earlier, you're like, now what'd you say again? What was the question? Okay, guess what? We forget. I know I forget now because I'm in perimenopause. I mean, what it is though.
We didn't even talk about that. There's so much. Yeah, I'll be 41 this summer. I'm like, what is going on
It's
here?
weird. It is a weird phenomenon.
Yeah.
But thank you so much to you. This has been a powerful conversation. Um, I really, really love how you've just been able to show us how we can be true to ourselves, even though there's different parts to ourselves. We need to be true to ourselves, show up authentically for us in every space that we're in, whether it's community, career, faith, home, whatever it is.
Right.
And so thank you so much for pulling up a seat to the coach's kitchen. We're gonna have that part too. Maybe
Yes.
we should invite a few friends. We'll see.
Yeah, we can do it. Yeah, that would be great.
I think
Like
it'll
a
be fun.
circle.
Yes,
Hmm.
I think it'll be fun. And to all of you, thanks for joining us on the Coach's Kitchen tonight. I hope tonight reminded you that your faith, career, calling, and community, they don't have to live in separate boxes, y'all. They can all work together in powerful ways. And huge thanks to ZeNai Savage for sharing her journey and her wisdom. Connect through blurred lines to keep those important conversations going and explore how to live fully and without apology. If this episode spoke to you, like, subscribe, and share it with the women who need this most. And stay unapologetically you. Embrace the lines that blur and keep pursuing your purpose, y'all. Until next time, we will see.